Pope Francis held one of the most powerful positions on earth, surrounded by treasures that spanned centuries, but lived like the simplest of priests. In a world where leaders flaunt wealth, he quietly redefined it. This is his inside story, a quiet revolution in white. It begins not with gold and grandeur, but with a decision, a choice to forgo the marble halls of power in favor of a quiet room in a guest house. When Jorge Mario Bergoglio emerged onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica on that March evening in 2013, he brought with him not only the hopes of millions, but also the quiet resolve to lead a church in humility, not splendor. He chose the name Francis, invoking the legacy of the saint who turned his back on riches to walk with the poor. And though the Vatican sits atop priceless art and unimaginable wealth, Pope Francis chose a life of deliberate simplicity that made him, paradoxically, one of the most admired and intriguing figures of modern times. Yet, for all his humility, the world around Pope Francis never lacked elegance. The power and prestige of the papacy surrounded him like a velvet curtain he refused to draw. He redefined luxury, not through opulence, but through access. To people, to compassion, to a quieter kind of wealth that didn't glitter but still shone. The Pope who chose a guest house over a palace. Most popes since 1903 have resided in the Apostolic Palace, a sprawling residence filled with frescoed ceilings and antique furniture. But Francis, true to his Jesuit roots, walked past that tradition. Instead, he stayed in Suite 201 of Casa Santa Marta, the Vatican's guest house. A modest 5-story building tucked beside St. Peter's Basilica, Casa Santa Marta was originally built to accommodate visiting clergy. Its interior resembled a modest hotel more than a royal residence. Inside his suite, a sitting area with a simple desk, a dark wooden bed, a wardrobe, and little else. Fluorescent lighting replaced chandeliers. There were no golden drapes or marble bathtubs. And yet, for Francis, this was the ultimate luxury, a life lived in proximity to others. "I cannot live without people," he once said. "I need to live my life with others." This choice didn't just reflect his personal tastes, it signaled to the world that this papacy would be different. And indeed, it was. Wealth in the Vatican and the man who shunned it. The Vatican is a city-state of immense treasures. It holds one of the world's most valuable art collections and receives annual donations in the billions. As Pope, Francis had access to a vast array of assets. Estimates suggest his net worth stood around £16 million, mostly symbolic and tied to the office, not personal fortune. He didn't receive a traditional salary. Though entitled to one, believed to be around £384,000 annually, he declined it. That money, like much else, was redirected to trusts and charity. Francis's approach to wealth reflected the Jesuit vows he had made decades earlier. Poverty wasn't just an idea to him, it was a lifestyle. Some reports claim he died with as little as £100 to his name. The disparity in figures has stirred debate, but one fact remains beyond dispute. Francis didn't own wealth. He merely walked among it. Ironically, this made him wealthier in reputation than many royals. Even King Philippe of Belgium, who is estimated to be worth £10 million, falls below the late Pope in net worth. Though the king enjoys state-sponsored luxury, Francis chose not to. The Pope Mobile Collection. Where a head of state might boast an armored convoy of blacked-out SUVs, Pope Francis rolled differently, sometimes quite literally. His vehicles told their own story. He was seen in everything from second-hand Fords to budget Dacia Dusters. In 2019, Renault Group gifted him a custom-built Dacia Duster. It had 5 seats, a sunroof, and a Pope Mobile-style glass compartment. The Romanian design team even lowered the chassis for easier access. It wasn't flashy, but it served. Still, for special occasions, he accepted the use of a bespoke, all-electric Mercedes-Benz G-Class. Estimated at £380,000 to manufacture, the vehicle was modern, luxurious, and filled with thoughtful modifications. It included a swiveling armchair, space for guards, and a retractable roof for rainy days. But even in this, the vehicle's mission was clear: not prestige, but visibility. It was designed to bring Francis closer to people. He had no intention of becoming a pontiff wrapped in armor and tinted glass. He preferred to be seen, smiling, waving, blessing the crowd, with nothing but a transparent screen between him and the world. Flying without an airport. The Vatican might be the seat of the Roman Catholic Church, but it has no airport. The closest, Rome Fiumicino International, is a 40-minute drive away. For international travel, the Pope's flights were chartered. The aircraft bore the call sign Shepherd 1, symbolizing its sacred passenger. Flights were mostly provided by Italy's national airline, first Alitalia, then ITA Airways, but not always. On one 2015 visit to New York, an American Airlines Boeing 777-200ER was used instead. The plane, though commercially typical, became something more once Francis boarded. The aircraft selection depended on the trip's demands. For nearby European visits, a narrow-body Airbus A320 was sufficient. For intercontinental missions, whether to South America, Africa, or Asia, wide-body jets like the Boeing 777 or Airbus A350 were chosen. These weren't luxury jets. They were commercial planes repurposed with minor modifications. A small lounge might be reserved for papal use. Some seats were removed for clergy or media. But still, Pope Francis flew as a man among the people, seated modestly, carrying only what he needed. The legacy of Francis. Even as Francis walked the marble corridors of the Vatican, his choices echoed a different rhythm. He refused the traditional red mozzetta cape. He wore silver instead of gold. He kept his same pectoral cross from his days as a cardinal. When he reformed the Roman Curia, he made history by giving women full membership in several dicasteries, an unprecedented move that shocked traditionalists and thrilled reformists. In doing so, he demonstrated that simplicity didn't mean silence. His humility wasn't meekness. It was conviction wrapped in gentleness. He made his final public appearance on Easter Sunday, 2025, before suffering a fatal stroke the next morning. Fittingly, he died on Easter Monday, a day of resurrection and renewal in the Christian calendar. His body lay in repose in Casa Santa Marta before being transferred to St. Peter's Basilica. That simple guest house, once just a place for visiting priests, had become the heart of a papacy that defined itself not by what it owned, but by what it gave up: the luxury of less. Pope Francis redefined the very notion of papal luxury. For him, it was not about gold rings or private jets. It was the quiet luxury of living with purpose, of waking up in a modest suite surrounded by the echoes of prayer, not the clinking of silverware. It was the wealth of being close to the people he served, not above them. He leaves behind no sprawling estate, no treasure hoard, no heirs to inherit a crown. But in his choices, his cars, his home, his actions, he left a legacy more enduring than marble. The proof that power need not come with privilege, and that true luxury may lie in the choice to walk simply, even when the world offers you everything. If this glimpse into the extraordinary life of Pope Francis moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more inside stories that uncover the unexpected truths behind powerful lives.